Well, hi, good morning, and thank you for joining me in my shop. Today is November 27th. There was a small dusting of snow on the ground this morning. That's the first bit of snow, but supposedly a larger drawn-out snowstorm is coming in a few days here. So, my alternative speaker, or rather alternative output transformer here. I think in the end of my session yesterday, I more or less did some simple tests to kind of tell if the transformer is functional. It seems to be. So now it's time to get this off of here and hook it up to the radio and test it out. I don't need to mount it and all that stuff until I know it's going to work. Can you just interchange these? Aren't they different? Yeah, they're a little bit different, but so things probably won't be perfect. And what kinds of things could happen? This could overheat. That's probably the primary concern with doing this. Another one is if the primary impedance of this is way off from what the this might be handy someday. Ever wonder how junk gets in your junk drawers? It's from stuff like this. So I'm just gonna now do it. How much wire? I don't need much wire at all. Just about that much really to do it. So we're just gonna nip off enough here then. Oh, I do not like the destructive side of this, but something's got to go down for something to go up. There we are. This guy has a hum coil, and I think that's the attachment there. I'm not sure, but we're just going to nip this wire like so. And there's our one on the other side. Oh, that's a voice coil. Yeah, so you can see the voice coil lead coming out of here, down to here. So probably that's a hum coil in there. Humbucking coil. And don't cut these short. Cut them long. This other one I didn't cut long enough. That's okay, I can extend it. That's no big deal. Okay. Now we got to get this off here. The other radio, I want to try to end up with one of these sticking out on this, so I can screw it down on the other radio. Looks like it's not welded or anything, so it looks like I can just pry it out of there. Starting with a knife. Something a little different than this. Oh, no, it's coming up. I just want to use the knife edge to start it. And I'll use a stronger tool after that. Trying to figure out how to hold this without my hand in the stab zone. There we go. Okay. Fit this big guy under there. So the problem with this is bending up these tabs. How many times can you bend them before they break? And these are bent pretty stiffly. Maybe use pliers on that now. so I'm not really, I'm just bending it into a new shape here. This is going to be tricky. Get this out. That's a better way. Still as solid as can be. Okay, so you see what I'm doing? I'm gonna work away on that until I get it out. So the three of you now have sent me the KM500 schematic. That's what this is, the KM500. And I've got a KL500 on my bench, and so I glanced at this, and the only thing I didn't glance at it, I studied it. The only thing I could spot that was really any different was how the tone switch was positioned here. It's put here in the radio I have. It's over here. In fact, that's probably even remnants of the of the drawing. I don't know. But what I missed were some other significant things, and thank you for pointing this out to me. This schematic shows a field coil, and that's the kind of radio I've got. The radio I've got has a field coil in the speaker. The other schematic, this is a resistor here. So this does match better. And also, what is this capacitor doing going from the plate over to the cathode? Here it is. Well, it does not appear on the other schematic. So yeah, this is a better match. There's no doubt about it. Why it says KL on the back instead of KM? Well, I don't know. We'll never know the answer to that, but I think one of the three of you mentioned you also have a KL. It says KL, but it matches the KM schematic. So who knows what goes on? Things go wrong in factories, I guess, and especially with the paperwork and tracking and all that stuff. Okay, so I just wanted to show that, and thank you very much for sending this to me and then slapping me hard enough that I finally looked at it close enough to see the difference. Thank you. And I wasn't slapped. Okay, got the transformer out, and hidden is this horrible scene of carnage. Look at that. Too bad. Okay, well, we've got the camera looking at it. Okay, so this will be one. Well, it looks like there's a terminal mounted right down here, and this wire is probably jointed underneath the paper here, probably. That's our two voice coil leads, and then these are the. Good. You know what? We're going to hook this up, and we're going to see what's happening. Okay, so I think there is a challenge here. I'm not sure how to handle it, and that is, you see how there's one voice coil connection here, but there's two over here. And this is basically a lead to a humbucking coil, which comes back, and then this is the actual attachment to the voice coil lead underneath here. So we bring the output from the transformer connected to the humbucking coil. Away she goes. The problem here is if I get things reversed, the humbucking will become a hum. Could change the B to an F, and that's what's going to happen. So how can I tell which way to do this to avoid that? Maybe there isn't an issue here, because you have the speaker coil fixed and the humbucking coil is fixed, and this is connected the way it always was, and so maybe there's no issue there, just as long as it's connected in, I assume. Can you go without it? I don't know what the result would be of that. Now let's look at the transformer. So I managed to preserve these, so I could mount this like this. Actually, better this way. Mount it like that. these wires shorten up and connect here. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is still you know, I just twist or clip lead the wires temporarily, and we can try it this way, that way, and find out. The same thing with the voice coil. I don't know if I want to be soldering and resoldering that too much. I stop and think about this a little bit, just to make sure I'm aware of humbucking coils and how they're done and what my options might be or problems might be. I thought I'd look in my book. I have a number of books, but this is one of the best for sure. So here's a speaker with no humbucking coil. So you see the field coil here, and then the voice coil there, and that's it. Two coils, and they're not connected. Introduce and the problem with this is this field coil will induce a hum in the speaker. So it has to be dealt with somehow. And one way is to introduce another coil here and put it in series with the voice coil and wind this in such a way that it works against the hum field coming from the field coil. And so it bucks the magnetic field coming from the voice coil. Of course, by now you must know there's no such thing as a magnetic field. I won't go into that though. In any case, this particular example, they're suggesting there's only two wires coming out from the speaker, and internally there's a humbucking coil and the voice coil. In my case, these wires are brought out, so they're brought out where you can see them. What am I talking about? Why am I even talking about this? Didn't I resolve that this wasn't going to be an issue? Well, the issue could be which way the current... No, I'm not going to change that. Well, you know what? If the hum is coming from here, I could get this backwards, I think. So there's a force, a magnetic force from back here pushing on the voice coil. There's another magnetic force coming from this coil pushing the other way. And the two of them combine to produce nothing. But this force is... Yeah, you know what? Maybe there's no issue. Okay. That's what I decide there. If there is an issue, we will know. All these radios hum a little bit. I'm not sure you can get rid of it totally. You might have to stick your ear up to the speaker. I have to watch where I step here because I've got this guy here who's decided to camp out with me. By the way, that's my cat with the not quite broken leg. He's doing quite well. He's impervious to it, in fact. So I think the name of the game here is to hook it up, maybe on sort of a temporary sort of thing with clip leads and whatnot, and see what we get out of it. Clip leading the voice coil is probably okay, but I don't know about these. Should I start cutting these to length? I probably should. I should probably cut these to length, bear them up, just twist the wires together and leave it like that. Good. Okay, I'll get everything set here. So while I'm working away on the radio here, I'm just preparing these wires, and I just nipped this, and I thought I dropped the red wire. Look out, there's the red wire laying here. So I'm trying to pick it up. No, wait a minute. That's the red wire. What is this? This is a wire that got trapped under the transformer when they built this radio. And probably the guy doing it was doing it from back here, and he couldn't see it. He couldn't see that. He trapped that wire. There it is. Well, I'm not going to touch that, but see, you never know what you're going to find in these radios. Okay, well, I'm pretty anxious because we're going to find out. I'm just going to slide these over top here. I've soldered these connections, the primary connections. I have some faith that this is going to work. I have not soldered the voice coil connections. Actually, this output goes through the humbucking coil and then into the voice coil. I've got that connected, so I have the humbucking coil connected. For good or for bad, we don't know. So what can happen here? Let's just think about this before I turn it on. What can happen here? I don't think anything can happen suddenly. What could happen though is this guy might not be appropriate at all for some reason that I'm not aware of, and it may overheat. So I'm going to get my thermal viewer ready here and keep an eye on it. I mean, the best way to keep an eye on something like this is put your hand on it. I myself managed to calibrate myself back when I was working, because I worked with a lot of power cables. Believe it or not, big underground power cables supplying power to cities run at around 60 to 70 degrees C on the outside, which means you can practically get burned off them. That's how hot these things are run. They'll run them to a conductor temperature of 90 degrees is acceptable for most of these underground power cables. That doesn't mean you want to run them up to 90. 90 is very hot. And then they have an emergency rating where under certain conditions it makes economic sense to run the cable so hard you're actually going to reduce its life. If you just do it for a short period, like one day, maybe while you fix something else, this cable will handle the load. In that case, you can let the conductor go up to 120 degrees, I believe, was what the calculations. And these numbers originated way back in the early 1900s when cables were being developed, and they were based on what was known about paper and oil and stuff like that. And those temperatures have remained. As far as I know, they're the same temperatures people still work with today. So in a lot of electrical equipment, the rating may be in current, but the limit is its temperature. That's really what it's about. Current is just so easy for electrical people to measure. Get out an ammeter and measure it, get it up on a meter on the wall, measure it. It's really easy. Temperature is more difficult. Not today, but back in the day, measuring temperature was very difficult. So that's the situation there. Why am I talking about that? You know why? I'll tell you why. Psychologically, I'm delaying turning this on because I'm delaying the bad news. What part here? I think we need a tube stuck in there. This one will probably do. Let's see. 6K6. Yeah, I think that'll do. Put it in there. Okay. No reason to delay any longer. Oh, yes there is. I need to set this guy up. I have endless supply of interesting stories about my time working in the power company, but I will keep them to myself. So right now this is set, so if red appears on the screen, it's because the temperature is around 40 degrees C. That's way too high. So we're going to reduce the temperature range so red occurs at about, I say 30, something like that. Okay, so we're going to go down, down. Okay, my hand is yellow. Let's go down one more. So you see the middle of the warmer part of my hand is red. So that'll give us a pretty good indication right away. But really the best thing is, yeah, that's right. That's why I got into the conversation, because of this, because I was doing this. Yeah, I learned very quickly. I had a thermocouple. They put it on the cable, look at the meter, put it on the cable. These are big cables. There's nothing dangerous about touching the outside. And finally I realized, just put my hand on it. What I know what it was I wanted to say. I learned that for me, when the temperature gets around 55 to 60 degrees, I can't keep my hand on it. I got to do this. Other people might be a little bit different. And once you get up above, say, 70, 75 degrees, it's like this. Pooh, you can't tell how hot it really is because your hands is not long enough. So that's what I learned. Very practical stuff. Helped me detect overheating cables very, very rapidly. If I'd had one of these things, oh my gosh, a big one, oh my gosh. But those days are gone. Okay, we're ready. We're ready here. First, switch is off. We're going to apply power and find out what the maximum power is. 116 volts, that's perfectly good. I'm going to turn this on through the dim lights because. Okay, so dim lights are in. Here we go. I'm turning it on from here. Okay, everything's looking good. Everything looks normal. Tube's warming up. We'll turn the volume up a little bit. Come on, baby. No antenna. I have no antenna on it. I missed that. Oh, I hear it. Oh, wait a minute. I disconnected the volume control. But I can hear it. I think we need to reconnect the volume control. I don't know what the popping is. Okay, we're not going to worry about this thing getting hot. It won't get hot that fast. Take a long time for this to heat up, actually. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop for a minute and rejoice because it looks like it's going to work. And then we're going to hook up the volume control, and then I'm really going to rejoice. Okay, so I've installed just temporarily a capacitor between the volume control output and the, I guess it would be the grid of the triode. I'm going to give it another shot here. Now you might be saying, hey, how come you could hear some of that coming through the speaker when the volume control is completely disconnected? And I'm not exactly sure, but my guess is the detector tube is leaking the audio through. So in other words, the diodes in the detector tube are doing their job, and they're using the same cathode. I'm not sure if that's true, but if they are, they're using the same cathode. They're drawing on the same pool of electrons in the tube, and a little bit of that is going to cause some effect in the triode. And I think that's why we could hear it a little bit. Don't know if that's really true or not. Okay, so we're on. Hey, you know what? I'm going to hook up an antenna this time. Got to go do that. Of course, I don't really need to hook up an antenna. It's got its own loop antenna here for the broadcast band. So what I've done is I've taken my outdoor antenna and just attached it to this loop. Just hang it here because I do want a strong signal at this point. And that should be ready to go. So switch is on, volume is down. Here we go. Will it work? Well, we won't know instantly. Let me turn it up a little bit.
So no, I think this is a player defending his coach, but yes, the Niners season to me is very clear. It's a season from hell. They had a ton of injuries. They're probably exhausted by all of these runs. 8-9 weeks. So no, the Niners, I would be hoping for just like the hard reboot next year where you're like, okay, maybe this is
those
year.
pops
You get a good draft pick
are not from the radio.
And then you try to get next year with Kyle Shanahan.
Eventually they'll turn into pop 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 pop, and that interference I hear all the time.
Play your dinner menu for Sunday brunch. Visit the night.
Lovely.
The end is near.
It is, eh? It is. Lovely sounding radio.
One of them is, you know what? It was a storm. It was a storm, and honestly, we lost this race.
Yeah, it's working good. For sure. Lots of volume too. Oh, oh, oh.
Maybe you're the problem, and it's not the moronic.
Okay, we're going to get rid of the booster here. Just this antenna now.
For joining us on the Ben Mulroney Show. Here's hoping you join us again. All right, coming up, we've heard that Donald Trump's 25% tariff will have the largest Alberta's oil and gas exports to the U.S. We will ask the Premier of Alberta what she thinks next.
It's only 100 volts on the radio right now. We better give it the full Monty here.
Have some form of erectile dysfunction
or
experience a bend or curve. Sound familiar? Can give you hope again using the best technology in the country.
I shouldn't laugh.
Root cause of erectile dysfunction. This safe, 20-minute proven medical treatment is designed to break up blockages and repair blood vessels. Now, Warren, Whitby, Cambridge, and Barrie areas. Call 416.
Oh, I live in the Barrie area.
2020. That's 416-707. Or visit urigened.com. That's UROGENED.com.
I think it's working quite well.
Fan presents the 50-50 fortune supporting food. 50-50 lottery, where the more money we raise, the more kids we can feed in the GTA, and the more you can win. The current take-home prize is now over $250,000. Buy your tickets at
Lovely. It's lovely. Hey, okay. I didn't ever, you know, when I first started on this radio, I really was kind of writing it off in my head, but here we are. Fantastic. So I'm going to stop here because the situation's good and I'm feeling great. I'm going to leave it like that. Tomorrow I'll finish up this guy, just do a little more alignment stuff and make sure the dial's correct and put some lights in and stuff like that. Get it back in the cabinet looking fantastic, and wow, I'm pretty happy with this. I really resurrected this guy from certain death. And it still has the output on the back. You could still run this to some other sound system if you want it. Okay, well, thanks a lot for watching so far, and have a great day.